all easy category plants. So these are plants that you should be able to grow in most low-tech setups. Hi everyone, George here, and I'm very excited today. I am at Tropica in the test lab. I'm going to be aquascaping one of 11 aquascapes for Tropica's 50th anniversary at Interzoo 2020. There's going to be loads of content coming from the test lab. We've got 4 other scapers here as well, aquascaping. So loads of content coming your way, so stay tuned for that on my channel and Tropica's channel. But the main focus of this video is going to be aquascaping this 1 meter by 50 by 50 aquarium, custom built by a German company called Müller. And I'm going to take you through a whole step-by-step tutorial. So I really hope you like it, guys. Really excited to be able to do this for Tropica. We're going to be only using their easy range of plants. So if you didn't already know, Tropica have easy, medium and advanced. We've got other tanks for those. This is going to focus on the easy, going to be using classic species that we all know and love. Let's get started. Okay, one of the top tips that Yuri's came up with was actually to fit one of these. So this is going to be glued to the bottom of the aquarium. Once it's been fully grown in 3 months' time to Interzoo in Germany, they're going to be transported by road. What we need to do is empty as much water as possible. So what this does is allows us to empty down to the last sort of ½ centimetre or so, or 1/4 inch. So this gets glued to the base of the aquarium, and then when you drain the water, basically it comes down to the top of this here. So really clever idea. And we're just going to glue that around about here. And this glue, never used this before, but apparently it glues underwater as well. So we actually got a little bit of water in the bottom from where we tested the tanks whilst I was here 2 weeks ago. So let's do that now. Okay, so we've installed our water removal device. Now it's time to install our substrate. In this case, we're going to use 3 9-litre bags, 2 9-litre bags of the Tropica aquarium soil, the regular type, and then 1 bag of the Tropica aquarium soil powder type. So the powder type is a much smaller grain, and this is ideal for planting delicate rooted plants, especially the tissue culture, the ones who grow. Okay, now just use a brush just to straighten out the soil. So we've got the top layer there of the soil powder, and underneath that we have the regular soil. There was some water in here already, so it is a little bit damp, which isn't a bad thing. It's obviously going to be filled with water at the end anyway. We tend to plant into the dry soil or just wet soil. You certainly don't plant into a full tank of water. This just leads to lots of mess. And we tend to have the soil slightly deeper at the back than at the front. This helps to give us an optical illusion that the tank is actually deeper front to back than it really is. Okay, let's talk about the hardscape. We've got 2 types here. Dragonstone. This is very popular in aquascaping, has a lovely kind of brown, reddy colour and a distinct kind of texture which looks like dragon scales, so that's why it's called Dragonstone. It is a very messy stone. It comes kind of clogged with loads of clay. Does need a good wash before using ideally, otherwise it will give you cloudy water. It's inert, so it doesn't increase the pH or hardness of the aquarium water like a lot of rocks can, especially things like Sirius stone or mini landscape rock. So just 3 stones to use. It's going to be a very simple layout. We're only using easy plants, so I wanted to show off the plants. You know, this is an aquarium plant company, and it's not really an exercise in showing off how good we are at aquascaping. It's more an exercise in showing off the plants to their best potential. So moving on to the wood, I've got 5 or 6 pieces of kind of generic bogwood here, and I'm going to configure this in such a way that hopefully it looks really natural, pleasing to the eye, gives good aesthetic balance, and also offers opportunity to attach epiphyte plants. A lot of them happen to be in the easy category, so that's really useful. So next stage, we'll do a time lapse of installing the hardscape. Just before I go though, it's worth reiterating the importance of hardscaping in an aquascape. It is like the backbone of the layout. The stronger the hardscape, the stronger the potential aquascape. Okay, so that's the hardscape installed. Really happy with it. Very strong, kind of dominant, lots of height, lots of opportunity to attach the epiphytes, but also leaving a lot of the open soil to plant into. Now what we need to do is actually make sure the hardscape is secured, because this is going to be travelling on the road to Germany from Denmark. and we need to ensure that the hardscape remains stable, doesn't obviously fall over and destroy the aquascape. So I've got some special glue, which is the same glue that we use to glue down the water removal device. So I'll do that now, and then we can start planting. Really exciting. So here you can see the black kind of glue. It's like a silicone, it dries quite quickly. And I've used this where the pieces of wood are touching each other and where the wood touches the stone. And then this will basically means all of the hardscape is interconnected, so it makes it super stable. I'll also use the plants, some epiphyte plants, mosses potentially, to cover this area so it won't be seen. So we're ready to plant now. I'll start off with the foreground plants, and we'll move to the midground, then the background, and then finally the epiphyte plants. So starting off with the foreground, we've got a mixture of 3 different species. We have Marsilea hirsuta, which is a slow-growing carpeting plant. Alanthium tantalum green, which is a much faster growing plant but can form a really nice, dense, compact carpet. And then we have Staurogani repens, which is more like an in-between foreground and a midground, and we'll plant that around the rocks and the base of the wood. So let's do a time lapse of that. Okay, so that's the foreground planted, Alanthium tantalum, Staurogani repens, and my mind's gone blank. Marsilea hirsuta. Now it's time to plant the midground. I've got 3 species again. Lagonendra meboldii red. This is going to hopefully give a red accent, reddy brown, depending on the lighting levels. Then we've got Cryptocorini pecci, which will again turn like a reddy brown colour. Really beautiful plant. And finally, one of my favourite crypts, Cryptocorini wenditii green. And this is a super easy crypt and one that isn't prone to melting so much with the pecci. So the potential issue with crypts is that they can shed their leaves after a new setup or after a changing water chemistry. So the potential danger is, because we're moving them to Interzoo, the water chemistry will likely be very different to here. So we need to choose the crypts carefully. A lot of crypts are more susceptible to disintegrating, but these are kind of well known to be more stable. So hopefully, touch wood, that they'll be fine during this transition. So let's go get those planted, and again, we'll do another time lapse. Okay, so we've planted the midground now. It's time to go on to the background plants. We've got Echinodorus blairi and Ludwigia palustris. Again, all easy category plants. The Ludwigia palustris is a great beginner plant. It can stay red even in kind of low energy conditions, and it's going to grow really fast. We're going to need to trim that quite regularly over the coming months. And the Echinodorus blairi there, the classic Amazon sword, very easy plant, and it's going to provide a great kind of background curtain effect. Bright green, it's going to contrast really well with the Ludwigia. Okay, so that's the background plants in. Now it's time to attach our epiphyte plants. We've got a really good selection here, including the legendary Windelov fern, Microsorum windelov, which it's actually a mutation, selectively bred over several generations to produce a stable, separate species. And they decided to name it after Tropica's founder, Holger Windelov. And this is the legendary Holger Windelov. We also have the trident fern, one of my favourites, Anubias petite, and the regular Java fern, Microsorum terapus, and also some Bucophilandra red. Now I'm going to try to wedge these in. This is what I normally do in most of my aquascapes, just wedge it between the hardscape, whether it's the wood or the rocks, and potentially maybe use some super glue as well. So let's do that now. Okay, we're fully planted now, very exciting. We planted the foreground, midground, background, and then finally we attached the epiphyte plants. So just to recap the whole process, put the soil in, put the hardscape in, fully planted, and now it's time to fill with water. Okay guys, there we go. The tank is filled. We've got the CO2 injection fitted, the filtration's running, the lighting's running. Just done a big water change, so it's looking really nice and clear right now. And yeah, really happy with the layout. Excited to bring you updates from this over the next 3 months or so, ready for Interzoo 2020 to celebrate Tropica's 50th anniversary. I think it's worth just talking about the plants, all easy category plants. So these are plants that you should be able to grow in most low-tech setups. You don't necessarily need CO2 injection, high levels of light, or lots of nutrition. So if you are a beginner or you have a low-tech system or a budget kind of system, then these are the kind of plant species that you should be opting for. So I hope you enjoyed that, guys. Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. You take care. Keep on scaping. Cheerio.